And March 23rd, I believe it was 2013. I remember I worked that case. We did a broadcast concerning her. I did not know that this was her at the time, but we did a broadcast in reference to this particular case. And here is her story. This family of 4. There were 2 children. These 2 children, Dara and her and the kid's father. They were all in the car, getting ready to go somewhere on March 23rd. When 2 abductors came up to them with guns, and they suffered the following. The father was pulled out of the car and was shot in the chest in front of Dara and in front of her 2 children. Then the father was left there to die. The 2 gunmen then took and pushed Dara back in the car and made her to drive around or to ride around with them in that car, with the children in the car. Now you have the 2 children, you have the 2 gunmen, and you have Dara, the kid's mother, in the car, all at the same time. And an Amber Alert was issued, a Levi's call, which is the Georgia version of the Amber Alert, was issued. We got the information. We reissued this Amber Alert. And for hours, they were just driven around areas of Georgia. People were praying. People were believing God, because they said this young lady is a good young lady. She's a beautiful young lady. The children, I mean, they are well spoken of in their community. Dara is a model. Okay, she is a model, and as fate would have it, as they were being driven around and others were praying, the gunman took them to a mall parking lot there in Georgia. A gunman took them to the mall parking lot and told them to get out of the car. Okay? Just get out of the car. They got out of the car. This was on a Saturday morning. They got out of the car. And when they got out of the car, reports have it that I have are that Dara contacted a neighbor to let them know that she was fine, that the kids were fine, and then the authorities and others rushed to where they were, and they got them and took them back to where they needed to be. And so that's the nutshell. And Dara, she sent me on January the 27th of last year. Dara, she sent me a letter thanking me personally. She sent me a letter, and I will quote from the letter now. She says, "Thank you, Pastor Williams. Thank you for creating this ideal called the Amber Alert, because it was that ideal that's called the Amber Alert that saved our lives." And we've been talking back and forth and so forth, but if she was here right now, she would want me to tell you exactly that. And there's one other thing she wants me to tell you too. Okay? I would not be representing her if I did not say this. Along with saying thank you to Pastor Williams for this amazing concept called the Amber Alert, which saved her life and the lives of her children. She closes the letter by saying this: we have a God and we serve a God who sits high, but he looks low, who has promised never to leave us and never to forsake us. And that's how she ends the letter that was written to me. I realize that sometimes when people are told that they want to do an interview and so forth, you know, when you really sit down and you really walk back through what God has brought you through, sometimes maybe you can't talk about it, okay? And I understand that. Okay? So to Dara and to the hundreds of other Daras out there who have experienced the same type of power and divine intervention, maybe you were kidnapped but then you were saved by this amazing concept called the Amber Alert, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And to Dara, thank you so very much. We will be in touch, I'm sure. We will be in touch. And also, I want to share with you another amazing story. Okay? I want to share with you another amazing story about another child that was saved using this concept of the Amber Alert. In Houston, Texas again. In Houston, Texas, last year, this first responder receives my kudos for being the first responder of the year as it relates to Amber Alerts. Okay? Here's what happened. Someone went to a gas station to get gas. They left their kid in the car while they went into the gas station to pay for the gas. Okay? And as a result of that, a carjacking took place there in Houston, Texas, with this little 1-year-old child still strapped to their car seat in the car. Well, here's what happened. An Amber Alert was issued immediately after that car was stolen, because the child was in the back seat of the car. And a few hours went by, no results. But then something happened. A jogger, okay, I love this because you know I'm a fitness nut, right? A jogger was jogging by in an open field. And as the jogger was jogging by that field, they heard the faint cry of a baby. Okay? Could it be? Yes, it could be. They heard the faint cry of a baby. And the jogger ventured over into the field for just a little bit. And then the jogger saw a car seat. The jogger went further into the field. He saw the car seat and the child was still in the car seat. Okay, listen, don't you know that that was nobody but God? Okay? That child had been discarded into this field, left there to die, or to be eaten, or to be harmed by any kind of a wild animal. But God, that's right, but God sent a jogger on that path that heard the faint cry of that little child there in Houston. And today, that child is alive. That child is, I think maybe 3 now, but that child is alive and will be alive at some point to be able to tell their story as to the faithfulness of our Almighty God. So today, I just wanted to come in and just share with you a little bit of the real history of how we got to this point called the Amber Alert. Okay? You know, I say this a lot, that it's probably one of the best kept secrets in all the world is that the Amber Alert was created by a black man. Okay? Now, hey, you know what? It just is what it is. When I am invited to events across this nation and I show up, some people have treated me like, who are you? I'm like, I'm the person you invited. Okay? Because again, my dialect is different than most other people. And it's kind of like I have a Caucasian dialect, but I'm in a black body. Okay? So, I don't know. You ask God about that. Okay? I can only be who God has called me to be. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we have the Amber Alert. Now, I want to say a big shout out to a few people. Number one, to all of my social media friends and followers. This year has been an amazing ride for us, okay? This year we have come together, and law enforcement is even now acknowledging the presence of what we are doing here, right here in this studio. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that law enforcement will have a case for 24, sometimes 48 hours before they will, you know, release it and lament and say, hey, we're out of clues, okay? We've traced down all of our leads and none of them panned out. But then when we get it, typically, case after case after case after case, because of you tweeting and sharing and asking your followers to do the same, typically within hours, rarely has it gone days, but typically within hours, children have been found alive after authorities ran out of clues. We came on Periscope and on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. You all got busy praying and sharing with all of the prayer groups and all of the people. Okay? I mean, it's been an amazing ride. Thank you for your trust in me to lead you. Thank you. I don't take that lightly, nor do I take it for granted. I'm not just here for your clicks. I am here to help save somebody's child's life. Okay? That's the only reason we exist. That's the only reason we're here. And, you know, some people are called to preach in pulpits, and I do that well. But this is a ministry that God has birthed inside of me. Okay? And all I can do is say yes to his way, yes to his will, and yes to his way. And thank you, my social media friends and my social media partners, for helping us in this journey, for coming along with us, partnering along with us in this amazing journey. Somebody says, yes, I'm in South Fort Worth. Oh yeah, I know about South Fort Worth. Okay, brought up in that area. I know about all of that. The second group of people I want to talk to are those amazing individuals called first responders. Whether you are EMS, whether you are fire, you are police, or whatever your status is as a first responder, FBI, ATF,